Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Ukasha Khan and today my presentation topic is about Balochistan and the threats surrounding the lives of people. The purpose of choosing this topic is because I belong to Baloch family and the things I'm going to tell you will be based on reality. Moving towards the next slide is about the introduction of the province. Balochistan is known as the land of brave people who are stronger than mountains. The province was established on 1st July 1970 and the largest city in the capital is considered to be the Quetta. If we talk about the natural resources, nature gave a lot of natural resources to the Balochistan, but we don't know how to use them properly. It's like same having money in the bank, but we don't know how to cash it out. Following the few natural resources that are given by the nature to Balochistan are natural gas, coal, chromite, sulfate, marble, iron ore, or limestone. Moreover, it is also have Gawadi's importance, and we can consider CPAC as a game changer. But we haven't looked over the people that will they uh, accept it open-heartedly or not. As Baloch people are not allowing the Pakistani government to rule them, will they allow China or not? All the above, we are actually handing our important land into the hands of another country as we forget that what British East India Company done to us. Considering the climate, Balochistan has an extremely dry and desert climate. If we talk about the tourism, if we consider tourism, it is one of the profitable businesses among the people, and there are very few places to visit, but those places are beautiful as heaven. After 9/11 attack, province contained a lot of terrorism, and people started to search that is this place safe to go or not, because of the war going inside this province. Then we have the history. The purpose of telling the history is to tell you that this province is facing discrimination, violence from the start. It is said that while the Arab rule, Baloch people developed their own rule as a semi-independent tribal system. These tribes are still common and still exist among the Baloch people. In 17th century, Ahmadzai Baloch, a tribe from Kalat, ruled Balochistan from 1666 to 1948. It is also said that in 643, Arab reached Makran. Historical significance also gets matched with the Greek records in 650 BCE. The region is divided into Pakistan, province of Balochistan, Iran, as well as in among the Afghanistan. Arrival of Islam, medieval and British era. In this part, Islam reached in 654. It is said that Byzantine army sent an Islamic army in the southern part of Afghanistan in 15th century. Mir Jafar Khan then became the Sardar of whole Balochistan, Pakistan, Iran, and the part of Afghanistan. He close aid of Termend, which was succeed in Kalat, and his alliance was ruled by the Mughal empires. After all this, Nadir Shah, who won in the eastern Balochistan, Ahmad Shah Durrani, also won alliance to the era rule, and he was the founder of Afghan Empire. Many of the Baloch fighters fought in the third battle of the Panipat, and most of the area came under the rule of a local Baloch. If we look at the British Indian Empire, so in 1870, Balochistan came the colony of British, and this was the end of Iranian Empire in 1823. Makran, Kairan, and Lasbela and Kalat was considered to be the princely states. In 1876, Kalat Treaty was negotiated by the Robert Sanman, and it actually bring a lot of other states and territories like Makran, Lasbela under the British control, and protection of their independence was maintained. When the Second Afghan War was ended, the Treaty of Ganmek in May 1879, the Afghan Empire gave Sibi, Quetta, Pishan to the British control. On 1st April 1833, considered to be an important date, as on this date, British took control over the Bolan Pass. In 1893, Sir Mortimer Durrant came up with an agreement which was also negotiated with the Amir of Akban Abdul Rahman Khan just to fix that Diwan line that was running from Chitral to Balochistan. It also created boundary between Afghan's Amir and the British control eras. In this time period, two earthquakes also came in 1935 and 45. Here, the thing to remember is that even in the time of before the partition, three pro-Congress parties were active in Balochistan, such as Anjuman Watne Balochistan, in favor of united India. They were against partition. That Baloch people do not like partition from the start, from the beginning. The other one is this Balochistan from 1947 till present. The session is divided into crisis and conflict phases. At the time of partition, Balochistan wasn't agreed to go with Pakistan, but on August 12, 1947, 2 days before partition, Balochistan agreed to go with Pakistan. The crisis phase is from 12th August 1947 to 17th May 1973. Mir Ahmad Khan Kalat declared Balochistan independent, but the parliament of Balochistan rejected to merge with Pakistan. But the Khan of Kalat agreed for all this, but government sent her troops on 15th April 1948. They attacked over the residency of Khan of Kalat inside the city of Kalat on October 6, 1958. They not only arrested the Khan, but also other several hundred of the political leaders. The government also declared martial law on 7th October 1958. A rebellion was launched against the government beginning in October 15, 1958 by Nawab Naroz Khan or Mir Naroz Khan. Moreover, the tribal people also rebel against this act of government in the tribal areas like Mari, Mangal, Bukti between 1963 and 1969. A Baloch student organization was also established, so the Baloch independence must be protected. In 1967, a clash among the Baloch rebels and the government troops were held in 1967 and also 1968, and Baloch liberals lightly surpassed in 1969 as elections were held in 1970 and 71, so NAP won 8 seats out of 20, and Balochistan Legislative Assembly announced the formation of the province on 1st July 1971. Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto appointed Mir Ganj Baksh Bizenjo of the NAP as the governor of Balochistan. In April 1972, Iraq as well as Afghanistan provided weapons to the Baloch rebels, but the government troops fired them. France, China, US, they provide military assistance to support the government. The Prime Minister dismissed the governor as well as the assembly and appointed Sardar Akbar Khan Bukti as the governor. Then came the conflict phase from May 18, 1973 to July 31, 1977. In this time period, for about 55,000 Baloch rebels and the government troops engaged in military hostilities that began on 18th May 1973. Baloch rebels killed 8 policemen near Sibi on 18th May 1973. On August 7, 1973, Baloch rebels clashed with the government troops near Gambas, resulting in death of 2 government officers. Police arrested Benzo and other leaders, other 2 leaders, whereas Bukti resigned on 31st October 1973. After all this, Ahmad Yar Khan was appointed as the governor on January 3, 1974. After this, Ahmad Khan Achakzai, who was the leader of NAP in the Balochistan as well as a member of Legislative Assembly and was also assistant in Quetta on 2nd December 1973, then the Prime Minister Bhutto, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, declared ceasefire on May 15, 1974. And Iran also provided military assistance to the government for her support. Government launched troops against the rebels in Balochistan between 21st August and October 15, 1947, and this all resulted in death of 241 rebels and 142 government soldiers. Due to the war circumstances, 200 or more Baloch tribes moved toward Afghanistan as refugees. Then the situation goes worse when Baloch rebels killed 7 individuals near Sibi on 12th January 1975, and also 18 government troops were killed in the south of Quetta on 21st October 1975. Baloch rebels killed 15 individuals near Iranian border on October 28, 1975, and Baloch administration was suspended, and also the Provincial Assembly on 31st December 1975. 4 individuals were killed in bombing in Quetta, and with the every passage of every day, the situation was going more worse. And But till 2026, it was recorded that for about 1,000 to 150,000 individuals has been killed in these crises, in these clashes. Let's have a look on another slide that's about the that where do these people came from, like from where Baloch people that came. It is said that they belonged to Syria, to Iran. In ancient times, a Baloch lord came. They're also considered the descendants of Hazrat Amir Hamza, who was the prophet of, who was the uncle of Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and who was the first to settle in Halab and then was moved towards the Sistan region. It's a fact that Baloch in Pakistan makes about 7.1%, whereas in Iran it makes about 1.5 million people and 2% of Afghanistan. Mostly they speak their own language. They were where they live in Pakistan, Iran, or in the Afghanistan, but also learn different neighboring languages. In Balochistan, life is important. That is called to be the guide of Baloch. Like it's a book like Baloch Mayar. It's a book that contains the bravery of the forefathers and their stories, and these are told to the children. And it is one of the very rich tradition. Like storytelling is one of the richest tradition in Baloch culture. They promote bravery in the young children's. And here we learn the art of storytelling. Um, the mother used to sing the bravery songs for the children just to promote bravery of their forefathers inside them. Baloch people are also divided into sub-tribes like Ahmadzai, Khan of Kalbat, Bhakti, and a lot more. I will talk about the Baloch language. So the pronunciation of this word is Baloch, and it is divided into Western, Eastern, and Southern Balochistan. So the Western people are influenced by Persian, Eastern are influenced by Pashtun and Sindhis, while Southern are influenced by Persian and as well as Arabic. The language is in a great danger, as the one thing is the uh, problem of understanding the pronunciation of different sides, and more above, they are forbidden to teach in school, so the people are forgetting their languages. Uh, Coming toward the main topic, that's Balochistan, Pakistan, and other war. Balochistan is one of the four provinces, as we know that, and one of the richest provinces of the state. But from the start, it is facing discrimination, it is facing violence, and nobody pays attention on the war that's going inside this particular province for about 60 to more than 60 years. Uh, and the rebels or the people inside this province actually hate the people from Punjab. When in an interview that was given by the Baloch rebel, that was our goal is to gain independence for Balochistan. We want to end Punjabi rule over our land and provide the Baloch people with security, justice, and equality. Question arises: who are Pakistanis? Are they an ethnic group? No, they're Sindhis, Baloch, Pakhtuns, Punjabis who live in Pakistan. Pakistani do not exist even. Why force is used for us to become the part of Pakistan? As Pakistan is just taking our land and its riches. This is why we are fighting for the authorities and for those who work for these authorities like police or army or other stuff. They are stealing our land just to strengthen Pakistan. So we want to weak those authorities. The interview didn't end here. He gave an example of turmoil tigers in Sri Lanka. These people came up with the proper army and also with the proper uniforms. Though due to certain reasons, after a few years, they lost. He also said that we want to talk about unity as the goal are one, the freedom of Baloch nation, and every Baloch is working with that. According to Baloch rebel, this war was started by Punjabi army, and the army will declare us what to do. So that's the problem. If army will put pressure over both people, he will kill the innocent people. He will kill women. He will kill children, and he will do airstrikes. And then we will have to teach them a lesson, and we will target your places like Lahore, Rawalpindi, or even Islamabad. According to Martin Exman, who is an historian, he said that Balochistan is a no man's land. This won't be wrong to say, as these were the mountains and the desert, so no one actually cares about this. The refugees who were not settled in Indian or Iranian Empire, they came and settled here. It is also said these people belong to Arabs, and they're always in search of freedom and one of the bravest nation over the earth. Amir Moinuddin from the Kalat royal family said in an interview that Pakistan got independence in August 1947 and Balochistan joined in 1948. So for about 9 months, Balochistan was free and independent. While Balochistan joined Pakistan, the only reason and influence was Islam. That Pakistan is an Islamic Republic country, so his father agreed to join this country. As in British government, Balochistan was a semi-independent state or province. He also gave example of Bangladesh, but why forcefully occupied Balochistan? Nawab Akbar Khan Bukti's death was the most important incident that happened and made the situation more worse. As this man, uh, as this man was a very important person for the Baloch nation, as he was the father of the Baloch nation, and he is actually. This made Baloch people aggressive, and the fight moved toward the states of Balochistan. In 2005, army attacked over his village, and along with him, killed his people after 8 months. According to Jamil Bukti, the son of Akbar Khan Bukti, that his body was bring in a box and it was locked. No one was allowed it to open those locks, and army actually buried his body in the Deya Bukti. So in the world, no one put locks over the dead body, but in this country, this kind of things are also going on. And then people wish a Baloch to be the well-wisher of Pakistan. If you treat a Baloch in such a way, if you will do such things with their elders, will a Baloch be a well-wisher of yours, or your country, or your nation, or something? But the army do this. But after this, Bhakti's movement spread in entire Balochistan. It was looking more like a battlefield than the area living for civilians. Is this the behavior you do with your civilians? Government consider these tribes or the Sardaran of these tribes as the huddle in the way of their success, as what happened with those who cooperate with them. Just look at the Lasbela in Jam's era. Go and look at Jamali's era. If Bhakti and Mangal and Mari are those tribes who are considered to be bad, then what are the developments that happen with those who cooperated with the government? The richest province with the less population is without the basic necessities of toilet, hospital, education, and a lot of even houses. In all this situation, clash between government and rebels, common Baloch is suffering a lot. But if you listen to the government, they call these people who were asking for their rights a terrorist. In an interview, General Salim Nawaz, from Pakistan Armed Force, said people say we do not have agriculture because of no electricity. They went and blew up the pipelines, railway lines, and even hijacked the aircraft. They wanted to kill students and teachers. They are not helping but are the biggest huddles. 1,060 people lost their lives, more than 300 lost their limbs. But we still support our nation, limited classes terrorists. We will not allow them to spread terror more. They will see FC like a tall wall. until now, these people are calling the people as terrorists who are just asking for their rights, for their basic rights. So, according to Bashir Azin from Baloch Public Party, it's better to call these soldiers as a kill of Baloch people. The army's injustice here are unbelievable. Soldiers arrest poor people, steal their foods and animals, and just burn them alive or throw them into the boiling tar. They burn to them alive. And still, these innocent people are the terrorists who are destroying this country. Government also used to say, and the army used to say, that the Baloch rebels have a support of India. But this is not the truth. Yeah, but Baloch people used to say that if they get any support from India for getting their independence, they will welcome it open heartedly because they trust uh, India more than Pakistan. Case study of missing people. Missing people or missing persons in Balochistan, the ratio was about 14,000 people were missing when I have done this research in the month of April, in the month of March to April actually, and there were for about 230 bodies were found. In 2010, the issue reaches to the Supreme Court, and afterwards, when Imran Khan came into power, he promised that he will ask from the army chief and the head of ISI for the recovery of these people. But it is heartbreaking that he haven't started his work till now. Voice for Baloch missing persons gave list of 5,000 people in the National Assembly, but nothing happened. Baloch suffer with the passage of every single day, and these cases are increasing day by day. If we look at the first case, the first missing person was Ali Asghar Bangalzai, who was a tailor. He used to stitch people's clothes to earn money for his family. He was kidnapped on 18th October 2001 in the domain of General Pervez Musharraf and is still missing. The case goes towards the High Court and Supreme Court in 2015, but they didn't do anything, and still he's missing. Even we don't know whether he's alive or dead. Due to all this, Voice for Baloch Missing Persons came into existence by one of his family members named Nasrullah Baloch in 2009. A year before, Nasrullah gave the list of 5,000 missing persons to the National Assembly, and they didn't believe them. And now the level reaches to 14,000 people. In case study 2, a girl told her story that she and her fiancé were kidnapped by Pakistani army and they targeted and tortured them. Pakistani army gave them electric shocks, but they remained patient. Army hit the girl with the rifle on her head and she got 6 stitches, and also shoot her on her right foot. Whenever she walks, she feels that pain. But after doing all this, they just released her after 3 months, but her fiancé was still missing. And all this happened just before 1 month they were getting married. Are still human rights given in Balochistan? If we talk about the political turmoil in Balochistan, so every party is just concerned to their own benefit, just uses their name. I was the biggest supporter of PTI, but after listening to this all, I became neutral. So in you can say 2003, Imran Khan was the first person who spoke for the Baloch missing persons. In an interview that he gave to Hamid Mir in 2020, he said that that was the war phases and now it's a rebuilding phase. And the entire situation has been changed. I spoke for those who were kidnapped during the war. And if you send your military in the civilian eras, this all will be happen. It's not the fault of army, it's the one who just ran out of the country as he sent the army into the civilian eras. I mean, it is the thing, it is the right thing. But the prime minister of the country, do you think like that? Like, what about his promises? Like, what he did for those? If we consider our ex-government, uh, which is one of the biggest opposition party, Mariam Nawaz said in a press conference on 17th Feb 2021, the Prime Minister is doing wrong. He should do something for the people, and he should take a proper responsibility as one of the media man to ask her a question that last year Imran Khan was doing this protest, same thing against your government, and you are doing. Like, while giving an answer, she said that right now I can't do anything else. I just doing that what is in my hand. So again, I have a question to ask her that what in previous government your father or your government done for these people? Just look at the things said by the um, human rights minister for her Baloch brothers and sisters on 23rd January 2019. In a tweet, she said that her ministry is working in the ministerial meetings with the stakeholders. 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, developed consent to criminalize enforced disappears through amendments in PVC, but effect was drafted and sent to the Law Ministry, and PTI is living up to the human right commitment. Okay, so as she mentioned that PTI is living up to the human right commitment, but are those commitments seen in this province? Or people are still suffering all those violations? CPAC is considered to be the game changer, but those people are not even getting the job. Labor is from China, from Punjab. A local Baloch is not getting job because government is not having trust on these people. We talk about the religious persecution of the minorities. So, as they are majority of the Sunni Muslims, and there are two uh, minorities, two communities of minorities, like one of Shia Zara community and other is Hindu community. Shia Zara community is facing problems from a lot of areas. Their rights are being violated. We took example, there were 11 coal miners who were killed in a terrible way, just tie their hands and shoot them up. And we didn't know who did that. The state didn't inform to the province up till now and to the people that who did that with those people. Were those planning against the country or the army, or just doing their jobs? In 2013, there was an attack in Quetta and 18, and in that 80 Hazara people were killed. Protests go long and long, and Baloch government was fired as in the demand of people. Protest was done in front of the private residency of Zardari. People say that state was unable to protect their rights, unable to protect them, and claim that Baloch is a Pakistani civilian. This attack was claimed by Lashkar-e-Jhangvi, who say that it's practical Shia people. But I do want to ask a question that have you done something in favor of these people or not? I mean, if you have done something, then why the situation is not changing in the province? On the other hand, Hindus are safe, happily living inside the province, free to go to their prayers. If the Baloch are terrorists, then why these people are saying that these are the peace-loving people we ever saw? When the Babri Masjid incident was done and when it was burned, they got afraid, but they were protected by the Baloch Sardaran. So, other is that why Balochistan is not the part of Pakistan. There was a survey that was stuck for about 7 years before in the village of Balochistan that was known as Tatri. You might not have listened this name before, as Gwadar and Suya are the most important places to showcase. And who is going to remember such a small village? In this village, people do not have proper houses. They have mud brick houses. They do not have toilets, they don't have schools, they do not have hospitals, they don't have roads, and 22 people died due to hunger. If you got food for 2 times, you're one of the richest person of the province, of the village. More above, people are hiding themselves from the army, as army is considered to be the killer of these people. the terror of army inside these people is to be seen. Baloch freedom movement internationally. In 2018, it was seen on the buses and cabs of London, the banners of freedom of Balochistan. People raised their voices for these people. But when Pakistan got to know, while talking to London authorities, they just removed those banners and they didn't protest again. So shall we be guilty? Like, I didn't saw anyone from Pakistan for protesting for these people except themselves. According to Pakistan, Roy doing all these things on 3rd March 2016, a raw agent named Kalbashan Yadav was arrested from Balochistan and took responsibility of all the crimes that held in Balochistan and Karachi. So India was involved, but wasn't it the fault of our government or our army that other countries are playing tricks on the people? Earlier in 2017, about 434 Baloch rebels surrendered to go to a normal life. But the government promised to give them jobs because they don't have anything to eat. In 2019, few Baloch activists asked India to raise voice for the people of Balochistan as they are living badly under the military and the government of Pakistan. And the issue put was in United Nations and everyone just remained silent and nothing was to be done for Balochistan as a separate state. And if the situation goes in the same way, then it might be possible that Balochistan will be considered as a separate state. In London, Baloch and non-Baloch parties mark an independent day of Balochistan, but that haven't came yet. If we talk about the reaction of Punjab's people on this situation, so Punjab is one of the biggest province of Pakistan. As Punjab is considered to be one of the biggest enemy for Baloch on this earth. And so I was took by BBC Urdu and also tried to take a survey for my class. And you will shocked to know that people know nothing about the situation that's going on in that province. They were shocked to know the number of people who were kidnapped from Balochistan. So this was the guide's dream that I showcased to you. It's all the unity, faith, and discipline that he told us about. In conclusion, or in end, I just wanted to conclude the topic by saying that Baloch is a person who sacrifices land, life, all of the rights, freedom, but in return, he's just getting death. The only influence for joining Pakistan was Islam, not the Pakistan itself. Pakistan captured it forcefully, which is considered to be an illegal thing. The war was started by Pakistani army. They killed Bhakti. And Baloch people do not want any charity. They want their rights, which Islam gave to them. Even under the Sardaran, these people were very happy and can reach to the level of success. They sacrifice for their Sardari. Like everyone sacrificed their Sardari. Even my family. Because of all the situations we migrated towards the KVK. But this is the right thing to create such a situation that one should leave their own province or their own land forcefully. And then I just want to say that these are the innocent people and just want their rights like all other people, so stop treating them as rebels or terrorists. And even if they're getting help from India, then it's the fault of our government and our army. They captured it forcefully. They killed and kidnapped a lot of people. So feel the pain of these people. If your eyes are able to see the blood in the heaven of earth, that's Kashmir, then also try to see blood on the top of the mountains, that is Balochistan. People fought for centuries, and it's the time to give them reward. They're not afraid of fight, but it's their right to live in peace now. As it was said by Nawab Akbar Khan Bhakti that you can't separate peace from freedom because no one can be at peace unless he has his freedom. So this entire presentation was given to you by Sardar Ukasha Khan Baloch Pitafi Khan. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for listening to me.